Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhare Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhare Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhare Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhare Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnu Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Stotra Shate Si Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Stotra Shate Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Shri Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopu Gopinath Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Maya Ki Jai. Yamuna Maya Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai, Shri Shri Gaunitai Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Giridhari Ki Jai, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadramaya Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. We are reading from Canto 7, Chapter 13, text number 6. Nabhinaded Dhruvam Mrityum Adruvam Vasya Jivitam Kalam Param Pratiksheta Bhutanam Prabhavapyam Nabhinande Dhruvam Mrityum Adruvam Vasya Jivitam Kalam Param Pratiksheta Bhutanam Prabhavapayam Nabhinande Dhruvam Mrityu Adruvam Vasya Jivitam Kalam Param Pratiksheta Bhutanam Prabhavapayam Nabhinande Dhruvam Mrityu Adruvam Vasya Jivitam Kalam Param Pratiksheta Bhutanam Prabhavapayam. Please chant. Krishna. pratiksheta Bhutanam prabhavapyayam Nandinande dhruvam Sajivitam Kalam Param Dhruvam pratiksheta Bhutanam prabhavapyayam. Anyone online? Okay. Na, not. Abhinandet, one should praise. Dhruvam, sure. Mrityum, death. Adhruvam, not sure. Va, either. Asya, of this body. Jivitam, the duration of life. Kalam, eternal time. Param, supreme. Pratiksheta, one must observe. Bhutanam, of the living entities. Prabhava, manifestation. Apyayam, disappearance. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Since the material body is sure to be vanquished and the duration of one's life is not fixed, neither death nor life is to be praised. Rather, one should observe the eternal time factor in which the living entity manifests himself and disappears. Purport. The living entities in this material world, not only at the present but also in the past, have been involved in trying to solve the problem of birth and death. Some stress death and point to the illusory existence of everything material, whereas others stress life, trying to preserve it perpetually and enjoy it to the best of their ability. Both of them are fools and rascals. It is advised that one observe the eternal time factor, which is the cause of the material body's appearance and disappearance, and that one observe the living entity's entanglement in this time factor, and that one observe the living entity's entanglement in this time factor. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur therefore sings in the Gitavali, Anadikarame phale padi bhavarnava jale taribare nadeki upaya. One should observe the activities of eternal time, which is the cause of birth and death. Before the creation of the present millennium, the living entities were under the influence of the time factor. And within the time factor, the material world comes into existence and is again annihilated. Bhutva bhutva praliyate. Being under the control of the time factor, the living entities appear and die, life after life. This time factor is the impersonal representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who gives the living entities conditioned by material nature a chance to emerge from this nature by surrendering to Him. Om Jnana Timrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Avancha Kalpatrubhishcha Kripa Sindhubhe Ivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Paraya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvichesha Shunyavadi Prashtati Desha Tarine. I was recently reading Bhagavad Gita, the second chapter, and there was a really nice phrase that Srila Prabhupada said in the comments. He said that Krishna consciousness is a self-manifested peaceful condition that could be attained in relationship with Krishna. It's a really beautiful phrase. Krishna consciousness is self-manifested, and if we just become Krishna conscious, if we enter into the relationship of Krishna, we can be peaceful. There's nothing else we need to do. We just need to become Krishna conscious. That's all. Very simple formula. And then if we're Krishna conscious, we're also satisfied and peaceful in the mind. And we can really, we're sheltered in this beautiful practice. And I was yesterday at Palmer College in San Marcos. We were distributing books with His Grace Yamunapati Prabhu. And there was it's a nice, really nice place actually. Really great atmosphere, a lot of students, big school. But I remember one instance being there at that school. I met a person named Angelina, and she came over to me and she wanted to say hi. She waited for a while at the table. What she told me is that her parents and grandparents are devotees, and they're practicing quite seriously. They initiated. And it looked like she had all the books already, so I didn't end up giving her any books. But what happened, we started chanting the holy name together. It was really beautiful. She was there by herself, and then a couple of her friends, 3 or 4 friends, came over. And from behind, they wanted to surprise her. And so we were speaking, and then I started chanting. I brought out the holy name. And first we just chanted, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But then so you can also dance to it. You can also sing it. It's so beautiful. And I started singing, Hare Krishna, and all of them started dancing. And everyone around were just passing by and also happy, noticing that, and smiling. The teachers were passing by, I noticed, and some other students. So this is the natural way of being happy. We have a simple motto. We have simple life, and of course, we think about higher topics. So just like in this text, Srila Prabhupada says that the time factor is the impersonal representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And because Krishna wants us to go back to Him, He always gives us a chance, And so if we take that chance in this Kali Yuga, of course, by taking the name, by chanting the holy name, we can go beyond time. And in Harinam, when we do Sankirtan together, this is the safest place we can ever be in this world. This is the safest place. So that statement that Srila Prabhupada brought up in the commentaries was one of the texts in the second chapter. I thought it was really beautiful and kind of summarizes the whole movement. I'll say it again. Krishna consciousness is a self-manifested peaceful condition which is attained in relationship with Krishna. It's really beautiful. Also, I was distributing at the City College a couple of days ago. And in City College, in the beginning, it was really quite austere. People were giving me coins as a donation. No one had a clue what's happening, where to set up, where to go. And, people were a little too young, 17, 18, 19 years old. And anyway, in the beginning, it was a little bit difficult to get the message across. It's also due to my lack of goodness. And anyway, so but then throughout time, I was also kind of thinking that this City College is so close to Balboa Park. Maybe I'll meet a lot of people who already saw me at Balboa Park. And turned out that I did meet quite a few people. One lady, she's from Ukraine. She was just walking by. She's like, "Oh, you everywhere! I saw you at Balboa Park. Now you're here. You're like all throughout the city." And then another lady is a teacher. Her name's Carol. I remember her. She would come by at the table at Balboa Park. She would always say hi to me, but not speak to me for that long. And typically just kind of ignores me and goes on. But this time she stopped by because she said, I don't really want to be at the teaching a class right now. I don't want to be at work. So she was looking at the books. She already got a Bhagavad Gita some time ago. And she took like a vegetarian cookbook. She told me she works at the library. She helps with some research, students with doing research. And I said, wow, well, I'd like to be a student one day. She's like, well, you got to hurry up because I am retiring in December. better hurry up. Anyway, I convinced her to take another book because I also wanted to give her some philosophy book. So I gave her a small copy of Easy Journey to Other Planets. She had a copy of the Gita by someone else. So better if she has Srila Prabhupada's books. And then she said, well, you're so good at sweet talking. And she eventually took that book. It was really funny. And then sometime later, because I was set up by the building where they study the art and theater, something like film. I met two ladies, Kate and Allie, and they walked to my table. They were interested. They took books. One of them was a little bit more interested. She took a set in the copy of Bhagavad Gita. And then I said to another one, well, you should probably have your own copy too. In the beginning she said no. We talked a little bit more, and eventually she agreed. Now that I think about it, I'd rather have my own copy as well. And then I was showing them the pictures. And in the Bhagavad Gita, we have some nice pictures. I'm sure everyone knows. And I was, they were intrigued by the pictures. Then I moved on to the Sanskrit, and I said, can you read Sanskrit? And I pointed to the Sanskrit like that. And they said, no, we can't read Sanskrit. And I said, well, can you act like you do? Because they study film and theater. So they laughed. They really thought it was funny. Anyway, so there's people who are looking for Krishna and able to recognize that it's true. Life shouldn't be too complicated, Just by reviving relationship with God, that's what we truly need. And in this chapter, we see that Narada Muni, he continues to describe different stages of life. He described the Varnas, and now he's describing different ashrams. Brahmacharya ashram, which is a student life, then Grihastha ashram, which is a married life, and then the Vanaprastha ashram, which helps us to become free from these tendencies for comfort in family life, and begin to travel and speak with sadhus or preach the message of Krishna consciousness. It's kind of like a provisional renunciation. And then now it's a behavior of a perfect person. This is a sannyas ashram, very important ashram. And in the beginning days when Srila Prabhupada was initiating, giving sannyas to devotees, I think the first sannyas was given to His Holiness Kirtanananda Swami in Vrindavan. Then Jayapataka Maharaj got sannyas. And then the four disciples, it was the first time that Srila Prabhupada gave sannyas in America, in Los Angeles, in 1970, in summer. It was His Holiness Brahmananda Swami, Gargamuni, Vishnujan, and Subal Swami. So it was summertime in Los Angeles, and Brahmananda remembers he was at the garden, and he saw Srila Prabhupada, and he offered his dandavats. And as usual, Srila Prabhupada would just go and continue walking. But this time, he stood up there, waited until Brahmananda got up. And Brahmananda, at that time, Das Brahmachari, got up, and Srila Prabhupada looked at him and said, Tridandi Brahmananda Goswami. And at that time, his heart, he experienced that, Srila Prabhupada wants me to become a sannyasi. So, and he did. Srila Prabhupada did want him to become a sannyasi. So, and sometime later, Srila Prabhupada initiated them, gave him sannyas. And he was instructing them. He was saying that sannyas is not just a change of dress, it's an attitude of service. And sannyas means suicide for society. because we no longer have any obligations. You know, we no longer have to work. We're just concerned with preaching and opening centers and helping devotees, making devotees. That's the understanding what sannyas is. And of course, being an example. Main business is to completely devote life in service to Krishna, Mukunda. So Srila Prabhupada gave sannyasis 2 instructions. He said that when you travel, don't think that you're alone. Always know that you are with Krishna, wherever you go. And another instruction he gave, he said that do not go anywhere where you're not welcomed. Because, you know, it's important that if you make it devotees, if you travel, that you preach, and especially in the sannyas clothes, and it's you kind of preach directly, straightforward. You know, this ashram means that you preach directly. So to avoid offenses, we should not come to a place where you're not welcomed. You know. Like that. And there's different stages of sannyas is also described, the 4 stages. First stage is Kutichaka. It's a stage where you live in a cottage close to your home, and the family comes and brings you prasadam that you take. And Bahudaka, and sannyasi advances further, and he no longer accepts anything from home. Instead, he tries to do it himself. And Bahudaka means a bumblebee, just like a bumblebee, you know, flying and collects nectar from different places. So similarly, sannyasi also should collect the nectar from prasadam from different places, like that. And then Parivrajacharya, this is the 3rd stage. He wanders all over the world from place to place, trying to depend on Krishna and letting the Supreme Lord Krishna to take care of him. And the highest stage, the 4th stage, is Paramahamsa. This is where you have a direct connection with Krishna. You're pretty much out of this world, even though in this body, but you're actually not in this world. So you're already in the spiritual world with Krishna. So this is the highest stage. You realize your relationship with Krishna. That's the order of Paramahamsa. Mm-hmm. And we have many examples in our tradition, in our movement. And one example that easily comes to mind is our own, His Holiness Bhadranayan Swami Maharaj, who is completely beyond bodily platform. I mean, we all have seen it many times, how he's constantly preaching. He's on the level of, always steady, nishtha. He's always thinking of Krishna and Srila Prabhupada and completely devoted to Srila Prabhupada. And even though the body gives him pain and trouble, he's in a transcendental state. And of course, also many of you are at least halfway there, and I'm very honored to be in your presence, in the presence of Maharaj and all of you wonderful devotees dedicated to your service to Srila Prabhupada. It's a blessing to be in association with devotees, because we've been wandering in this material creation for so many lifetimes, and now when we get a chance to associate with devotees, it's actually a great blessing, and I should be more grateful for it. So this is in the text. Srila Prabhupada says that some people, they praise life and try to enjoy it to the best of their ability, and they constantly, they want to stay perpetually in this world. This is their position. But it's just a show. It's a show that they seemingly happy and peaceful, but actually it's a misconception. Happiness might be there, but it's not the true happiness. It's the secondary happiness, second category type of happiness, which is temporary. And Bhagavad Gita explains that Yahisam sparshaja bhoga, that wise people, they are not interested in this type of happiness because it's flickering, comes and goes. They're interested in transcendental happiness. And like Srila Prabhupada said, it's Krishna consciousness, a self-manifested peaceful condition, which can be achieved in relationship with Krishna. So, and the only price we pay for this happiness is our sincerity and our greed to obtain that, lolium, you know. So, and it's possible to obtain that. In the way to obtain that happiness, if we become initiated and start following whatever is prescribed to us. Krishna explains that vidhi pranipatena, we approach a spiritual master and try to take up the mission, actively participate in the mission of Krishna consciousness, chant 16 rounds and follow regulative principles, and sooner or later we'll attain that happiness, you know. And some stress death and point to the illusory existence of everything material. And we can see that sometimes people are so unsatisfied that they would rather die and not live in this material world, in this material body at all. But why are they unsatisfied? Simply because they lack an ultimate goal. Srila Prabhupada explains that if you don't have an ultimate goal, there's always disturbance for the mind, like that. He says that if one is not Krishna in Krishna consciousness, there cannot be a final goal for the mind, and therefore there's always disturbance. So when we're certain that Krishna is in our life, is our best friend, is the proprietor and controller of everything and everyone, that is the peace formula that is given to us in the Bhagavad Gita. And sannyasis, the true sannyasis, they do not praise life or death, because they understand that life is meant for Krishna, life is meant for preaching Krishna consciousness. We have this understanding we're not the body, but if we're not the body, we have this material body, so we have to do something with this material body. So we employ this material body in the service of Krishna. And time works in such a way that it wears everything down. Among all kinds of killers, the ultimate killer is time. And time represents Krishna in this material world. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is explained how annihilation approaches the material universe. And it's quite a nice explanation. I'll actually read it to you. It is said that 1 second. That at first there will be there will be no rain, just the heat, the drought. The heat will be very strong, and then it will lead to scarcity of food. So the living entities will start eating each other. And at the end, all of the inhabitants of the earth will be destroyed. The sun will be very strong; it will drink up all the moisture within the universe. And then eventually the fire of annihilation will come from the mouth of Sankarshan, and it will burn everything to dust. And then it will become windy. Yeah, Sankarshan. His mouth is speaking pleasing things related to Krishna. So it will be windy, and everything will turn to gray, dust and gray, everything will be gray. And then after that, there will be different multicolored clouds, and they will gather together, and it will be thunder, and floods of rain will come for hundreds of years. And eventually the entire universe will be filled with water, and it will form this single cosmic ocean. And eventually that water, that ocean, will rub off the fragrance of the earth. Like that. And 1 second. Krishna. And so eventually everything will be sucked into the modes of nature, the subtle and physical elements, and then into the pradana, which is the unmanifested form of material energy. And I'm just going to look something up here, just to read one specific text. It's all described in the 12th canto, the age of deterioration, different categories of universal annihilation. I'm just having the trouble with the internet. Sorry about that. Okay, so it is described that in an unmanifested stage of material nature, pradhana, there's no expression of words. And it's difficult to really describe what it looks like, what it actually is. But there's no manifestation of subtle elements from Mahatattva, and there's also no modes of nature in a pradhana. There's no life there, or intelligence, or the senses, or demigods. It's described as something like a voidness. There's none of the material or subtle elements. It's just like a complete sleep. So that's the state of pradhana. Eventually, everything will come to that stage. And Srila Prabhupada brings a text. He quotes a text from the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. He says that bhutva bhutva praliyate, that material existence, it's just like a cycle. It always happens. It comes and goes. So we can see that material life teaches us that we should awaken detachment and knowledge based on that realization that nothing exists permanently. It always comes and always goes away. Bhutva bhutva praliyate. So it's not a place for the eternal soul, this material creation. It will happen over and over again. And death will reap away all the attachments we have developed here. And time it's a factor that will remind us always. Time will always push things forward. It will always give us change. It's guaranteed for us. The change will take place. And I also wanted to take a look at the Gitavali real quick with the song of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And we'll conclude here. It's a song that was included in the its official name is Shikshashtakam. It's called Na Adhikarama Phale. It's in the book Gitavali by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So he's saying here that Srila Prabhupada also gave a purport to this text. He's saying that he's in the mood of like he's saying that he's a conditioned soul, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Of course he's not, but he's presenting himself as one. And he's saying, due to my past fruitive activities, I have now fallen into this ocean of nishanas, and I do not find any means of coming out of this great ocean. E vishaya halahaleya. It is just like an ocean of poison. And if one takes some pungent food, Srila Prabhupada describes, it's going to burn the heart. So similarly, if we're trying to become happy, enjoy our senses in this material world, it's also going to just cause the sensation of the burning inside the heart, and nothing else. So then, Srila Prabhupada, I'm always making hundreds and thousands of plans to become happy, but actually all of these plans give me pain 24 hours a day. My position is exactly like one who's been dashed again and again by the waves of the ocean. Karma krodha adichaya badapade de bhaya. Besides that, there are so many thieves and rags. And there are 6 thieves and rags. Lust, anger, greed, envy, illusion, madness. So those are my thieves and rags in this life, and I'm afraid of them. In this way, my life is becoming advanced. I'm coming to the point of the end of my life. So we experience lust, anger, greed. All these rags are attacking us, and then in a short moment, it's the end of life. So jnana karma tagadui mora. Although this is my position, still 2 kinds of activities are cheating me, namely mental speculation and fruitive activities. After misleading me, they bring me to the seashore and push me down within the sea. And then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, at the end, he describes that I have no strength to get out of this ocean on my own, this ocean of nishanas. So he prays to the lotus feet of Krishna as a friend, as an ocean of mercy, please help me. I'm your eternal servant. Kindly give me your shelter at your lotus feet. Deho Bhaktivinoda Ashraya. He wants to take shelter. Somehow I've forgotten you, and I've fallen into this network of Maya. Badhayo Chidhamaya. My dear Lord, I have become entangled in this way. Kindly save me. So this is what Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings in this bhajan, and it's a beautiful, beautiful meditation, how one realizes his position in this life, and he realizes that the time factor is affecting us, There's no way of trying to become happy here, and there's no way of trying to lament. We should just focus on taking shelter in the lotus feet of Shri Krishna, realizing that he's my only shelter, and I cannot do this on my own. There's just like an example of the 12th canto, this Markandeya Rishi, this pastime, when he wanted to see the illusory energy. Eventually he did, and there was a flooding taking place. And in the middle of that flood, he saw himself. He was in this ocean, a cosmic ocean. And eventually he saw Krishna sitting on a leaf of a banyan tree. And then he entered into this, in his mouth, through breathing into his body. And he saw everything, all the universe again, everything, all the material manifestation. And eventually, the moral of this, the point of this, the story is that Krishna's illusory energy is very strong, very, very huge, and it's difficult with just being shattered, just being trying to depend on our own intelligence. So the best way to actually, the wisest way to act in life is to take shelter of Mukunda. Daivi Hesha Gunamaya, Mai Mamamaya Durataya, Mamavaya Prapadyante, Mayamatam Tarantite. If we do that, we'll be able to cross over with the help of our spiritual master and utilizing the body, mind, and words properly. We can cross over and experience, instead of the oceans of Nishans, the oceans of mercy of Krishna. And there's, of course, many examples in Shastra, so this is our purpose, to learn and try to follow. So I'll end here. Thank you so much for hearing me here in Srimad Bhagavatam. Would anyone like to comment or say something?
Thank you for the class. You mentioned that if we will keep chanting without offenses, I don't remember exactly or no, but keep chanting and follow regulative principles, we will be happy. And my question is, how to say, what time happiness come? How you understand it?
Yeah. Well, when we chant Hare Krishna, we try to be attentive and we try to avoid aparadhas. And when we chant Namabhas, the name, the shadow of the holy name, we can truly experience happiness. You know, we can see, and the influence of karma will also be less. And of course, we can't always be happy, because this material conditioning in the beginning of our practice does not. It's not something that just happens like that. It's like the holy name is there, and I chant, and I have to make an effort. In other words, I have to really make an effort. It's important, because Krishna, what he really wants is to see the sincerity, and he will give us many tests. So if we really try to make an effort to chant, although it's not possible on our level to be always attentive, but if we just, let's say practically speaking, if we just sit down and try to chant the holy name, just all the 16 rounds at a time, that's a really huge effort. You know, it's really difficult. So if we just do that, then Krishna will reciprocate. He will actually, be happy, that we try sincerely like that. And Srila Prabhupada also gave some practical instructions on chanting. We just trying to hear ourselves chant, just hear the holy name. And if we feel like we feel tired, one time Shrutakirti Prabhu asked him, can you give us some practical advice? Well, he's, I guess, a householder at the time, and maybe it's not exactly applicable, but I just remember that he said that you can chant before you take prasadam, for 4 rounds before, in the morning, then before lunch, in the evening, like that. Just separate your day in such a way that before you take prasadam, you chant, you finish 4 rounds. But it's better even if you just make a goal to finish all your rounds before you take anything. Finish 16 rounds, so if you don't finish, you can't. That's kind of a, I guess, a small goal we can make. And also, it's important to be in association with devotees, Now we can do it online or in at the temple. And what also helps me, I guess, since you're asking me, to make like a sankalpa, like affirmation or a statement. Why am I chanting, really? Remind ourselves that I'm actually a small particle, a little jiva, and there's so many jivas out there, and I am just trying to chant the holy name. This is my position. I am a jiva in the stage of being conditioned by this physical body, so it's a kind of a nice reminder. And so affirmation, like one time I was meditating on this text, Bhoktaram Yagitapasam, famous text, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Krishna is the beneficiary. He controls all the planets, all living entities within the planets. And Gyatva Mam Shantim Richiti, if we recognize this position of Krishna, we can actually feel this is Krishna. When I'm chanting the holy name, this is Krishna. I'm chanting Hare Krishna, this is Krishna. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, this is him. Abhinatvan Namanamino, he's not different from the name. So therefore, if we just kind of make a sankalpa, if we make a affirmation, a reminder, what are we doing? Why are we chanting? Why are we sitting down and spending so much time trying to chant? It can help us to be more serious, more attentive. And the process is very simple. We just chant and hear. Chant the whole one holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Just hear attentively. And one thing also practically I remember and I try to follow is that we shouldn't rush. We shouldn't try to look, how many rounds I have left on my bits to chant. When is it going to be over? I already chanted 8 rounds, I got 8 more. Okay, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Just hear that one holy name and focus on that. And don't go anywhere else. Not how many rounds I've chanted, how many rounds I have to chant. Just sincerely hear that one name. And that's what His Grace Burjan Prabhu, he says, just chant that one name and try to hear attentively, Hare Krishna. And that we can really feel happy. Because we do feel happy when we're attentive in the holy name. We can really get fired up. It's a great stimulus for devotional service. So, just like when we take prasadam, we feel satisfied. We feel like we no longer want to take prasadam. We feel like our senses are satisfied. Similarly, when we chant attentively, we can tell. Our senses are no longer attracted to different objects right there. You're just satisfied. You feel peaceful, and you feel like you're ready. You're in the proper mood of trying to help and serve Krishna. You're not lazy. So that's the symptom of attentive chanting. So all we need to do is to be serious and make an effort for Krishna. Krishna will reciprocate with us. Thank you. Anyone else would like to ask? Sankarshan Prabhu.
The effects of chanting and whatnot. I guess somebody could say, like, if I concoct some variation of the mantra or some some phrase, and I still feel some type of enthusiasm, but there's no actual benefit in my devotional service. So maybe how does that work really?
Mm-hmm. So you're saying if I make up a mantra and try to chant, and I feel like there's some enthusiasm.
Something like that, even within Gaudiya Vaishnavas, maybe they may, some. I was reading it. It's like they can make some type of different phrases, Radhe, stuff like that. Radhe Sham and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not bona fide. It's not, the acharyas weren't really. They didn't chant it, but So saying how was the proper principle, actually following this this session, saying this is, what the acharyas did and they followed, and how we follow suit, and how, what is our duty to preserve that actually. Because over in the material world, things will get, lost. So what is our duty to preserve, chanting properly, all these things.
Yeah, thank you. In the Harinam Chintamani, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, or it's I think it's Haridas Thakur actually, he says something that there are different kinds of names that we chant. There's primary names and there's secondary names. So the primary names is like Krishna, Rama, Govinda, and there's secondary names like Brahma and Vishnu, like that. I guess Vishnu, is that a secondary name? Does anyone know? Or anyway, so there's primary and secondary name, and our understanding is very simple. We're not trying to make up mantras. There were different attempts. Actually, Srila Prabhupada, one time he was asked about a specific guru who I'm not going to name, but he was asked by reporters or at an interview. So this guru, is he a bona fide guru? And Srila Prabhupada, because he was charging money for mantra, so charging like $30 or something like that for a mantra. I don't exactly remember. And then Srila Prabhupada asked him, well, how many followers did he have? And he said, there's 1 million followers. He gave that mantra to me. So he multiplied that $30 by million. And you'll see that he's a complete rascal. So like that, he's a cheater and rascal. Very straightforward. He just said that, So, we're trying to preserve the message of Srimad Bhagavatam and different Puranas related to what is the duty of living entities in different yugas. And in Kali Yuga, of course, it's Hare Namano Kirtanam. We chant the holy name. And the mantra is given, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Of course, if we want to chant, because we do have our particular attraction for different deities, Ishtadev, and we also have maybe particular attractions to different names. So we can chant that also, if you like to, but as long as we follow the 16 rounds, and after that we can chant, and if we feel a little ecstatic, and feel that this name is giving us some personal, reciprocation, then we can also use that to help us to help our Krishna consciousness, like that. Does that answer the question? Okay, thank you. Anyone else would like to comment or say something? Anyone online? Okay, thank you so much. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.